Welcome to this workshop. This workshop is actually for collaborative space owners, section owners, who are needing to add students into their pages. So their section has been built, and they're ready to add students to their collaborative space. So we have a course here. We're going to call this a collaborative space course, and the only thing that you should see in the menu is home and announcements. Everything else would be grayed out, because those are the two things that are turned on in a collaborative space. Some of you might have Blackboard Collaborate or Panopto recordings turned on if you're using those tools as part of your collaborative space. For example, SLIS is using Blackboard Collaborate, and the College of Nursing Collaborative Space is using both Blackboard Collaborate and Panopto recordings. You will have a home page that will have buttons on it, like Section A, Section B, and Section C. And basically, you will have a page for each of these, and you're going to load students into either Section A, Section B, or Section C. We're going to differentiate between the collaborative space owner and the instructional design partner, what they're going to do differently. We're going to understand the importance and what it means to have a section in a collaborative space. We're going to actually go ahead and add students into that section. We're going to then look at how within that section we can use a group to communicate with a smaller number of the students in that section. We're going to talk about the difference between inboxes, an inbox message and an announcement, and when you might want to use one or the other. And we're going to actually also, for some of you, you might have restricted access to content in a collaborative space section. Some of you will have an additional setup. Everyone's going to be able to add students and remove students. Some of you might have created group sets and groups to communicate with a smaller section of students, and some of you might have restricted access to your content for anyone that's not a student in your section. So we're going to go through all of those pieces. Some of them might apply to you, and some of them might not. So let's talk about who is doing what. So collaborative space owners, and that's the people that are here today, you are leaders that are helping to communicate with students within your program for a specific reason. You're going to work closely with your instructional design partner so that they can work with you to help you add any more content, work out any issues you have, setting up your collaborative space and things like that. And you're going to use the service desk basically to submit requests. So let's say you would like to add students into your collaborative space. We're going to talk about how you can submit a service desk ticket to do that, and then some little caveats about how to remove students from a collaborative space. Your instructional design partner is going to work with you to basically take advantage of the features that are there. They'll help you understand how to add content to your pages, or how to call your instructional design partner if you want to make any changes to what information is available on your page. In addition, they will continuously work with you to improve your collaborative space. So if for any reason you want to rethink it, add another section, remove a section, or things like that, we will work with the collaborative space owners to refine this and make it easier for you and students in your program to use it. And we will provide training, like this one, to manage and use collaborative space. So let's talk about how we add students. Okay, adding students. Adding students, a lot of you are adding students in, and you're adding them at least initially in bulk. So you might have, I don't know, some of you only have 20 students, some of you have 100. But either way, you need to create a spreadsheet that includes the students that are currently in your program in Canvas. Now, one thing about student accounts in Canvas, they are only created once a student has a portal account and has registered for a course. So you will not be able to add anybody to your collaborative space until those two things have happened. You can add their names, so if you're looking up students' names and you find a student name and their TWU user ID, and you know what section they want to go to, you can add them on your spreadsheet. However, if they haven't registered for a class yet, or they don't have a Canvas user account yet, it's going to throw an error message. So you're going to create an Excel spreadsheet that includes the portal username of the student, their TWU ID, this is a 9-digit number that begins with 9, and the section that you want them added to. And then you can put all of them on one page. A lot of people, if they're loading multiple sections, they'll put each section on a worksheet in the Excel spreadsheet. Just keep in mind that this is the format that you'll put those into. How many of you know how to find the students that you need in your collaborative space? This comes up from time to time. So I wanted to show you that we had created an opportunity for you to use it. So if you're looking for how to create students in your program, you might be able to use the SQL report. Now, the SQL reports in general have different parameters. So if you're trying to identify students for your collaborative space and you don't have a SQL spreadsheet that you're using, you could use this. It's a SQL report in the student folder called Campus Collaborative Space Majors List. So, for example, you're here from College of Business, Healthcare Administration, just select them all, okay. And then we want all levels, that would be bachelor's and master's, and I guess we'll take all campuses. And then when I get this list, I'll get a list of all the students in the College of Business. There's their TWID, there's their first name, last name, and portal name, their TW email, and basically I get their major. The columns I need are this TWID, their username, or their portal name, and then the section that you want them in. If you need to use a report because you don't have one, you can download this one. Once you have this created, you actually use this little button here to export to Excel. And then from there you can delete out the columns that you don't need. And you can turn that file into the service desk. So, create a service desk ticket, attach your Excel spreadsheet, include the name of the collaborative space. I guess you know HCA might not mean something to them. So make sure that you tell them it's the College of Business Collaborative Space. And we'll see that you have the HCA students. And note, you're going to be responsible to resolve any errors and updates from that service desk ticket. So they're going to get your spreadsheet over at the LMS administration team will get your spreadsheet. They're going to upload that information. If there's any errors for any reason, they'll send them back to you. The most common error we're seeing is that the students haven't registered for a course yet. And so you'll need to resubmit them after they've registered. Or you can submit them manually, but we'll talk about that right now, how to add users manually. Let's say you have some students that didn't come through and you're just going to go ahead and add those 3 people in as we go in. So I'm going to come over here to people and I'm going to add that person in, and let's say that it is Demo December, okay, DEMO_DEC. Okay, that's the student that hadn't registered but now they have. I'm going to put them in whatever section they're in, the HCA section. I'm going to click Next. And it says that they're ready to add, so I can add that user in. Okay, now, notice that everybody else that got manually imported doesn't have a pending, but this new student that you put in there has pending. Now, what that means is that all the students that we loaded with the spreadsheet, they already have the course card, the collaborative space, the College of Business collaborative space, on their desktop automatically. For these students that have a pending, they'll get a prompt at the top of the page that says, do you want to accept an invitation to the College of Business Collaborative Space? They have to click Accept before they will actually be in the collaborative space. So keep in mind that if you want them to automatically be in the course, you always have to submit them with a spreadsheet. If you don't care if they have to accept an invitation to join, you can. Every instructor that's in the collaborative space will get a notification when students accept this invitation. So for example, the School of Arts and Sciences added 150 students, and all the students they're pending by 150 students. And every time when one of those students accepted the invitation, all 12 instructors got an email message. You can tell the faculty members to go to Notifications and turn off this one called Invitation. Just turn it off. And then anytime a student accepts the invitation, they won't get a message notification. Anytime you're working in a course, not a collaborative space, but a course, the students are automatically added and you don't ever see these invitations because they don't exist. The student information system is pushing the names into the course card's showing up on the student's desktop, so there's no invitation to accept. So it's only when you manually add students into these collaborative spaces that you're getting that notification. You can let faculty members know that they can turn that off if they don't want to get that notification. Now let's talk about group sets and groups. So let's say that January, February, March are in Section A, April, May, and June are in B, July, August, September are in C. So we have 4 students in Section A, 3 students in Section B, and 3 students in Section C. So now if I go over to the people page and I look at group sets, my group set should be named the same name as my section. So I can have a section A group set. And I'm going to create the groups manually, and I'm going to save that. Let's say that I'm creating a group for advisors. So I have advisor A, I'll save that, and I have advisor B. Remember, I have January, February, March, and December. I'm going to take December is advisor A, January is advisor A, and let's say that February and March are advisor B. So here's February and here's March. Now, I can actually communicate with just December and January out of this group if I need to. So I'm sending out a message for advisor A, and I only want to talk to those students that are working with advisor A. I can do that. For those of you that have several hundred students in sections, the easiest way to get them is to start typing their names. So I can type AUG, and it'll bring up just those students. So for those of you that have really large lists of names, or you're actually sharing a collaborative space with lots of other sections that have large numbers of students, the easiest way to find your students is to search on them. Once you've found them, you can click the plus sign and put them into whatever group you would like to. So that's another way to add students into a group. So let's talk about announcements versus inbox. So I can send an announcement to a section of students. Keep in mind that every instructor in the course will receive a copy of that announcement. If that's okay with all the instructors in your collaborative space, that's not a problem. They're probably not going to go over to notifications and turn announcements off because they have that in their regular courses. And your notification settings apply not to just one course, but to all of your courses, so it's a global setting. So you probably want announcements turned on so that you can see when you might have automatic announcements turned on in your course, and you can get a copy of them so you can see them. So you're basically going to have to agree as a group of section owners that you want to get announcements or not. So you kind of have to agree on that as a group. If you do want to send announcements, we're going to recommend that you use messages instead. I'll show you how to do both. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to announcements, and you're going to be able to create an announcement. You give it a title like Storms in Houston, since we seem to have those all the time. Describe to students what that means is happening this week. Describe the clinical schedule because of that. And then you can actually come down here and you can say, this is only going to go out to my Section A group, January, February, March, and December. You can delay posting, or you can send that right away. And so we save that, and it basically sends out the announcement to that group. A better solution might be to go over to the inbox. We're going to find our course. Okay, so I'm going to take that one. Now I can come over here and I can look for groups, which are student groups, and I should find advisor A and advisor B. And then I can check just my advisor A group, all in advisor A, and then I can just type a message to them about storms in Houston. That would be a way of doing this so that nobody but these students get that particular message. So that's the difference between sending a message as an announcement and sending a message as an inbox message. Both of them work. Both of them are pretty effective. Students will get a copy of that message in their Canvas inbox. And if they've got notifications turned on, they will get it in their TWU email file. I think our next step is to remove students from the course. There's a couple of gotchas on removing students in a course. So if you have added your students with an Excel spreadsheet, then they have to be removed with an Excel spreadsheet. You'll notice that some of them I added with an Excel spreadsheet and some of them I added manually. So I will only be able to remove the ones that I added manually. I can remove manually, otherwise I need to submit a spreadsheet, which is just the portal username and the section that they need to be removed from, and they'll take them out from you when you submit a service testing. If you can remove them manually, when you go over to the people page, you'll see 3 dots by the names of the ones you're able to remove, and then when you click them, you can remove from the course. So that's how you manually remove a student from the course. It says, "Are you sure?" And there they are. Otherwise, if you don't have the 3 dots, that means they were put in by a spreadsheet, and you need to actually have a spreadsheet created to remove them. Now, this last piece is very unique to anyone who has hidden content to the collaborative space. If you don't have this requirement, don't worry about it. If you thought about it and you would like to implement it, you'll need to contact your instructional design partner to work you through. They'll have to set up the details, and they'll walk you through what needs to be done. I'll just do a quick demonstration of this one so that you can see how it would work. You'll notice that in most cases, you will not have any assignments in your collaborative space. We use assignments and modules to be able to restrict access to different pages or different content inside the collaborative space. So the first thing that's going to happen is your instructional design partner is going to create an assignment that's worth 1 point that's called "You do not have permission to access" whatever your section name is. So in this case, section A. And they will have that, they'll create that for you, and then they're going to go over to modules, and they're going to create a module called Section A Access or Section A Permission. Depending on your collaborative space, they'll be named one or the other. And what they do is they come in here and they create a rule here that says students must complete the assignment that's called "You do not have permission to access content Section A" and score at least a 1. They put that setting on the Section A Permission module. And then you have an edit option here that says you have a prerequisite to complete the Section A Permission before you can actually access the content in this module. So you put your Section A homepage in here, and basically a student has to be able to have a 1 in the grade center to be able to access this content. Now, the instructional design partner is going to create these 2 modules, and they're going to set all this up for you. Here's what you need to do. Once you've added students into your collaborative space, you have 2 things that you need to do. Oh, you need to go to grades. You need to view your gradebook by section, and you want to do, let's say it's the section that we're locking Section A. So let's go over to Section A, and we're going to put a 1 in the grade center, and basically everybody listed here, I'll put a 1 in the grade center for. Now then, that's done, and now we can go over to, we go back to modules, and I need you all to do this one step. You're going to edit this Section A Permission. So you've added your students, you set their grade center setting to a 1 for anybody who can access this content. Then you come over here and you click Edit. And what I do is, what we want to do is we want to what's called relock the module. So come in here and just change this to a 0, update the module, relock the module, and then we're going to do it one more time because we really want it to be a 1. But I found that you have to do this to get it to relock. So you set that to a 1, update the module, relock it, and now then basically it makes every user go through and recheck them to make sure they have access to the content. We found this in a couple of cases. The way students are being added and moved between sections has created that they might have passed this at one point and needs to be relocked to make sure that they can pass it again. So just add the 1s to the grade center, relock the module, and you'll be set to go for the semester. We have these resources out here available for you to use and make a copy of. These are, so we talked about how we identified students, and we talked about that SQL report you could use if you don't have one of your own. We have a procedure that basically shows you how to remove the students. We have managing your students in a collaborative space, and I have an example collaborative space so you can look at it if you wanted to. One of the things that we've noticed, because this is about communication, is that you could use a TW listserv to talk to different students, to talk to students in your program instead of this. So a best practice is to use this if you need to. So I want to make you aware of the TW listserv as a possible option. There's some more information on that here if you need to review it. We also talk about sending messages to students rather than using the inbox. We have there's the Canvas guides to get more information on how to use different features in Canvas. There's a people overview feature so you can learn more about adding and removing students inside of a collaborative space. And then the workshop material, the PowerPoint presentation that I was going through, and the workbook that you were using to take notes are available here. And if you would like to save this document, you can always just click on up at the top, File, make a copy, and you can save it. So, right up to File, make a copy. Thank you so much for joining us today. We would like for you to know more about us. If you need to know who your instructional design partner is, there's a link here to our website, and you will get to meet all the new instructional designers. We have a survey to complete so before you leave, please complete the survey. Also, always your best resource if you need help right away is to contact the TW Service Desk and look for our next professional development events on this page, or they'll also be listed in the newsletter that we send out every couple of weeks. We have some frequently asked questions in Canvas that are also on our website that you might find helpful. Thank you so much for coming today,